fabulous executive living bordering Oak Mountain State Park. Colleen and David Black, Keller Williams Realty, 356-5412. Call on Colleen.
This is the Weather Xtreme video. This is for Monday morning, the 15th day of June. James Spann here, back in the saddle. Thanks to Brian Peters and the gang for filling in during my vacation week last week. And let's take a look as we settle into a summer weather pattern here. Always challenging when it comes to forecasting thunderstorms this time of the year. This is the look at 5 o'clock this morning from Tuscaloosa. That's looking north from the top of the Tuscaloosa County Courthouse. We are rapidly approaching the winter solstice here in a few days. That's the 21st of this month, 6 days away. That's the most daylight we will see this year. After that, the days begin to get shorter. That's the 280 shot coming from the Wingate Inn in North Shelby County, overlooking Highway 280. Not many folks out there at 5 o'clock. And from Walker County, that's the view coming from Jasper. The King Building is where that camera is located. And across the street, that's the Walker County Courthouse. We note some fog in spots this morning. The fog will burn off in just a bit. You know, forecasting thunderstorms in the summer is always a challenge. Certainly, it's been the case over the past several days with these big thunderstorm areas rolling in from the northwest, and there's a look at the scene this morning. And once again, the convection is rather active from Texas up across the nation's midsection. Really, the core of the convection this morning, the stronger storms are over parts of Kansas and Missouri. And, of course, the question is, will those things translate into North Alabama later today, like we have seen over the past 4 days? It's not out of the question, but models do not handle those things very well. There's a chance that might dissipate. New storms could form this afternoon, but there is nothing immediately northwest of the state. So I think we will see some sunshine this morning. That'll heat us up toward 90 this afternoon, and if nothing else, we'll see scattered storms after the lunch hour, and again, maybe another organized complex. The Storm Prediction Center has a slight risk of severe storms in place from the Great Plains into the southeast. That would include about the northern third of Alabama, basically from Interstate 20 on north. In fact, it runs all the way over to the Atlantic coast. And again, that's for the possibility of another derecho type thing later this afternoon. Tomorrow, there's the probabilities for today. The higher probabilities are running from near Muscle Shoals back up toward Omaha, Nebraska. And like recent days, the greatest issue will not be tornadoes, but from damaging straight-line wind and hail with those stronger storms. Now, tomorrow, the risk begins to shift a little north as the ridge begins to build in. And we're thinking by really Wednesday and Thursday, the upper ridge will take over, and the chance of a storm those days will be relatively small. There's the QPF chart over the next 5 days. You can kind of see the effect of the ridge. Texas and Louisiana totally dry underneath that with the rain on top of the ridge, with the better rains running from the Midwest down to the Atlantic coast. Well, let's look at the GFS, and let me just say up front that modeling does not do a very good job of handling summer convection. We all know that. So having said that, we'll take a look here. This is today at 1 o'clock. This is the OZGFS valid at 500 millibars, about 18,000 feet off the ground. And most of the convection should be on top of that 588 line. Below that, the warm air aloft should suppress any storms, and you can see how the ridge is beginning to take over. But still note that wind barb over North Alabama. Pretty good northwest flow aloft here. So you can really see for the northern third of the state, we might catch a thunderstorm complex today. Now, south of Montgomery, there should be no rain at all. If you're beachbound, the weather looks good. There's a look at the surface chart. And again, it's showing some convection out there this afternoon. And again, we think the most widespread convection should be from Birmingham north. Now, tomorrow, the model looks a little drier, but I wouldn't totally buy into a dry forecast. We still think there should be some mention of scattered showers and storms. But on Wednesday, notice how the ridge is beginning to flex its muscle a bit. It really bulges north up into the plain states, and that should suppress most of the northwest flow thunderstorms north of the state from the Midwest down toward the Atlantic coast. Now, having said that, look, it's summer. It's June. There's always some risk of a storm. But it looks like they should be thinning out. And then Thursday, the ridge is the story. You can clearly see that 588 ridge takes over. The storm track is north of us, so should be a relatively dry day Thursday and a hot day. We're talking potential for maybe mid-90s in spots. Now, the one thing we have is good soil moisture, so I don't think the heat's going to run away from us, but it's going to be awfully humid, and the heat index could be approaching 100 on Thursday. And then Friday, the 588 ridge is squarely right on top of us. But there's a pretty good shortwave coming across the Midwest, and that will be driving a surface boundary down this way. Let's take a look at the surface chart on Friday. The surface boundary Friday is from the surface low near Duluth, Minnesota, down to about Childress, Texas. That still looks pretty dry for us on Friday. And then Saturday, the front is running down toward Muscle Shoals. And while the model here doesn't show any active convection, wouldn't be shocked if we were to see a few storms on Saturday with that surface boundary. And then on Sunday, the boundary kind of dissipates. And again, that looks relatively dry. But again, understand, computer modeling certainly will not have a grasp on any summer thunderstorms 5 days in advance. So I think for the weekend, the heat levels might back off a little bit, and we had better mention some risk of at least scattered showers and storms over the weekend. And then Monday of next week, you can see that vortex just north of the Great Lakes with the ridge backing up in retrogression back to the west. And again, Monday looks like it would be a day with maybe a high close to 90. And there could be some risk of a northwest flow storm with that northwest flow there. And again, we'll just have to fine-tune that as we get close. End of the forecast period, June 30th, last day of the month. And it looks like June 30th should look. You've got a 588 ridge over much of the nation. The storm track is suppressed up on the northern states. And down below that, it looks like kind of warm and muggy with some risk of scattered showers and storms. And we should note no sign of any tropical activity anytime soon. That's it for the Weather Xtreme video this morning. We'll have notes on the blog. The next video here by 3:30 or so today. And, of course, we invite you to watch us on television this evening, ABC 3340 News at 5, 6, and 10. Again, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day, and God bless.